to Anfield for the long-awaited clash between the two most successful clubs in the history of English football, Liverpool and Manchester United. What a wonderful goal by Gerrard!
Rizzo! My goodness gracious me! And Salah for Liverpool!
It's almost a year to the day since English football's great heavyweights last traded blows. The world has changed since then. Anfield has changed since then. The Premier League title race has changed since then. Liverpool were 16 points clear that day. Now they're 3 points behind their great rivals. It's the 175th league meeting between Liverpool and Manchester United, and it gets underway at 4:30 this afternoon. Yeah, hello there. Welcome along to the Matchday Live preview in association with Standard Chartered. A huge game ahead of us this afternoon, which we will look forward to in the company of Stephen Morlock and Gary Gillespie. Good afternoon, both. First time I've seen you this year, actually. Any New Year's resolutions, Stephen?
No. You look like you've got your Christmas socks on.
Christmas
so
socks
nice.
are on.
It's a
Yeah, that's all
lovely
we've got
little
this year,
touch.
actually. That and an orange and some coal. So you're on the diet, though, isn't it? New Year diet. You said you were on the other day when I spoke to you.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
Yeah.
A little bit of running and things like that.
I know he doesn't, but he said usually we get a waffle whilst we watch the game, and he said no today, so no waffle.
It's all about talking.
We'll continue to waffle in that sense. What about you, Gary? Any resolutions?
No, I don't make any New Year's resolutions, purely and simply because they're always broken by like the 6th of January or something.
Difficult
like
to
that,
improve on perfection, isn't it?
Well, it is, to be honest. I'm glad you said that.
What about New Year's resolutions for Liverpool then, Stephen? Because not since 1993 have they lost both of their first games of the year. They were beaten at Southampton last time out, and they've just stumbled a little bit since that big win over Crystal Palace.
Yeah, just not being the fluent best. I think when you look at the forward players, lost a little bit of form. I think the fullbacks have also dipped in form a little bit. But I think Liverpool are their own sort of... I mean, you look at the standards they've set, and we always look at them now and go, well, the standards are so high, we expect it every single time that they step out on the pitch, and it's very, very difficult to do, especially in the circumstances with no fans there. Very difficult to get up for the games, but they don't need any fans there to be up for this game, and I expect a response from the players.
Yeah, this is a game, Jurgen Klopp said, in terms of when he was asked, is it bigger because they were the top two? They're not now because Leicester moved up to second last night. But your memories of this game and whether it will be affected by the fact that Anfield, very sadly, will be empty today?
Well, I think in many ways that will help Manchester United. I think that's helped Manchester United throughout the course of the season, to be quite honest with you. I think there was an awful lot of pressure on Man United players, especially when they played at Old Trafford. So I think that the lack of crowds or the empty stadiums, I think in many ways has actually helped United to be in the position they find themselves at this moment in time. I think Liverpool, if you were to analyse the two teams, I think Liverpool are the better outfit, but in games like this, it's not always the better outfit that comes out on top. And Manchester United have done what Liverpool did last season. They managed to win games, out clutch victory out the jaws of defeat, to be quite honest with you. A number of games that you've seen Manchester United play, and they've never really looked as if they've been playing it anywhere near their best, but they managed to get results. Liverpool were doing that last season. They were winning 1-0, they were winning 2-1. United have done that this season. It's something Liverpool have not been able to do this season. But if Liverpool play at their best and United play at their best, we're in for a cracking game, but I think there's only one winner. Liverpool will win.
And it was interesting that Gary said there that it was all about finding a way last season. And that's probably been the problem, hasn't it? They've just struggled to find a breakthrough. Only 7 shots on target in the last 3 games. However, I just wonder whether, and it's often been said that the answer might be Thiago Alcantara. A very good 45 minutes, albeit he's playing against a bunch of kids who got picked up by their mum and dad at the end last week against Aston Villa. But still, you've seen little bits in the cameo there, the cameo at Newcastle, that he might be the man to thread the eye of the needle.
Well, that's what you're hoping. That's what he's brought into the club to do. I think when you think of the game against Southampton, he got caught out a few times on the ball, but wasn't quite up to speed. I think Jurgen Klopp spoke this week about the full training sessions and playing 11v11s and being able to do work on the training ground. He's had that opportunity to do that, and I do think that'll make a big difference to the team this week. But I think we all know his qualities and what he's about. There's a few sort of key battles over the pitch today if he starts, and it's going to be fascinating to watch it. The likes of how do Manchester United stop him, how do Liverpool stop Bruno Fernandes, and these are intriguing battles, but you just see the quality of his passing range and what he's all about. And he loves a big game, and you see that in the Champions League last year for Bayern Munich, and you know that he is up for the challenge of sort of proving his quality to everyone else.
And we've seen as well, Gary, in just what we're watching there, we saw the Mo Salah goal a moment or so ago, and again we touched on it with Stephen, that the quality of the opposition has to be taken into consideration. But with Salah and Mane and Firmino not getting as many goals, a lot of Salah's coming from penalties, would it have helped the confidence just a little bit to just score last week in that game against Villa? Yeah,
I think it would do. I think I don't think any of the front three lack confidence in their own ability. I think that's been proven. You know, you look at Salah's goal return since the start of the season, it's phenomenal. I think it's the best start he's ever made in a Liverpool jersey. So, you know, he is capable of scoring goals. Going back to Thiago, I think he's the one midfield player that has that vision and awareness to break the lines with straight passes. I think when you look like the Gini Wijnaldums and the James Milners and the Jordan Hendersons, they put a heck of a lot of work into their game. But it's not a case that they're making these killer passes. Thiago is the one midfield player that can do that. And it'll be interesting to see if Jurgen picks him this afternoon. I think he will go with him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves him out and goes maybe with a tried and trusted formation with that three in the middle of the park with Gini Wijnaldum, James Milner and Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, we'll talk about the midfield and the defence a little bit later on. Firstly, let's head to the ground. Liverpool looking to make it 3 straight home victories over Manchester United for the first time since a sequence that ended in the 2010-11 season. Let's get to the ground and join Peter McDowell.
Thanks, Rob. Afternoon, gents, and welcome to Anfield. Once again, the voices echoing round an empty stadium here today, which seems quite unbelievable, doesn't it, to think of the most eagerly anticipated fixture of any Premier League season here at Anfield being without any fans at all. But if 2020 taught us anything, it is that life and football is very unpredictable. So you look just a month ago down the line to see Liverpool smashing 7 past Crystal Palace, to think then that Manchester United would be in a position where not only they were challengers to Liverpool's throne, but with the opportunity of going 6 clear of them at the top of the Premier League season. That would be the biggest surprise as well. But that is where we are. It's the team with the best away record against the team with an almost unblemished home record since April of 2017. So what gives today? We're certainly not going to see a Premier League champion, whoever they are this year, that will swashbuckle their way through every bit of opposition. So a hallmark of any champion, and we hope it's Liverpool this year, will be to bite down on the gum shield and see off any pretenders to that throne in the course of the next couple of weeks and months. So just winning by any score will be what Liverpool are after this afternoon. Of course, a large part of that will depend, confidence-wise, on whether Joel Matip will play here. We've been told that he's taken part in a couple of training sessions. How willing will Jurgen Klopp be to risk him with so many big games on the agenda and on the horizon here this afternoon? We'll wait and see on that one. And if it isn't Joel Matip, who will it be? Will it be a midfielder sat alongside Fabinho, or will it be a youngster? And where Manchester United are concerned, they're certainly coming over the hill. The league table tells you that. But Pogba's been in great form in the past couple of weeks. They do have doubts over Martial and Matic, which could mean that Pogba, if he plays, and it looks likely that he will, could play in that front three on the left-hand side. So we'll wait and see where that is concerned. For the neutral, it's a great game. For Liverpool fans, it's one that gives you that feeling of dread in the pit of your stomach just in case it goes wrong. We'll get that team confirmed for you at 3:30.
Pete, thank you very much indeed. Stephen, we saw in the opener those great scenes in front of the Kop and the singing of "We're going to win the league" last year, and as we said, it was a game that put Liverpool 16 points clear at the top, 30 points clear of Manchester United. So how are Manchester United now 3 clear? Is it Liverpool with a bit of a drop-off with the consequences of COVID, or have Manchester United improved significantly since then?
I think there's been a little bit of both. I think Liverpool have definitely dropped off. I think when you look at the form this year, that they've been nowhere near the clinical selves that they were last year and the year before. Manchester United have definitely improved. We see the stats that Bruno Fernandes has since he's come into the club. They've accumulated more points than Liverpool since he's come in, and that shows the quality that he's added to the squad. There was a lot of questions asked about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his ability to sort of turn the tables and turn things round at Manchester United. He's gone about his job very quietly, done extremely well, but I have to agree with what Gary says, is that the lack of crowds has definitely helped United.
What's interesting, Gary, we look back to last season, Liverpool did it against their so-called Big Six rivals, as they have this season. In contrast, Manchester United have played 4 games against the so-called Big Six, haven't won any, haven't scored from open play. So this is a big, big question for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to answer. Can he do it when it really matters? He's also a manager who's lost 4 straight semi-finals.
Yeah, I think.
What are you smirking for?
No, it's just the modern day age. like there's so many stats get thrown at like players, managers, whatever. And I think you can always look back and judge a player or a manager by stats, but you know, this is like a one-off game. I mean, it's no relevance to like the game we played back in January 19th in 2020. It's a totally separate identity. But I think that, you know, always done remarkably well to be in the position that he finds himself in at this moment in time. He came under an awful lot of flack, and he probably still will. If he loses this game and loses the next game, I'm sure that he'll be the first to put his hand up and say he's going to come in for flack, because when you're a manager like a football club with the size and the magnitude of a Liverpool or a Manchester United, you have to win every game. And Liverpool, you know, have been able to do that for so long now, for probably the last 2.5 seasons, that we are kind of judging Liverpool's performances this season on what's gone in the past. And you mentioned like the 30 points. That's neither here nor there. The 30 points from last season. I mean, that was they made the reference with us with Man City a couple of seasons back. That how did we gain the points back on Man City? It's a totally different like season, and it will be. I think it'll be nip and tuck all the way to the end of the season. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for me, still doesn't epitomise what a Manchester United manager should be. Manchester United at this moment in time don't epitomise what a Manchester United side for me should be. I look back in 2009, we played them. They had Berbatov, never played. They had Tevez, they had Ronaldo, and they had Wayne Rooney. 4 world-class strikers. You look at the strikers at this moment in time, I don't think they're anywhere near world class, to be quite honest with you. But you know, it's all about Liverpool at this moment in time. If Liverpool, as I say, play how we know that they can play, I think they will get the result today.
Well, Gary touched on it there. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer never seems too far away from a crisis, does he? But which of the 2 bosses have more expectation, more pressure on their shoulders today? Let's hear from them both. Solskjaer in a moment, but first, Jurgen Klopp.
Both is pressure. So, because you want to have something what you don't have in the moment. If you're top, then you want to have a bigger lead or a bigger gap. If you are behind, you want to close the gap. So both pressure. I find it easier to be the hunter, the chaser, the challenger, if you want. But maybe it's because I was it much more often in my life than the other way around. So we will see. But it's both pressure, and both is completely fine. And my players now deal obviously with both situations pretty well, and so far, and that's absolutely fine. How we deal with it, for that you have to watch the game. So that's for sure. So without watching the game, we will not have a final answer.
Rather be on top and have the points than chasing. But we are the challengers. We are the hunters. We are chasing the champions. Because it's over the course of a long season. So they've got the right, they've got the cup, they are the champions, they're the ones that everyone would like to beat. So my players are the same, I think. You know, we're playing against the team that was the best in England last season. They won, they've been incredible at home. So our mentality and mindset will have to be, we need that extra edge. We have to be humble and fight for every single inch on that pitch, inch of grass, because any little detail can decide one of these games. And we've definitely not thought that we are at the top and everyone's there to chase us.
Well, we shall find out at 3:30 what the Liverpool team will be this afternoon on Matchday Live. Gary, without Joel Matip, if he isn't fit, what do you do?
One thing that I wouldn't do, I wouldn't put Jordan Henderson back there. I would either go with Rhys Williams or preferably, I think, Nat Phillips.
Why is he the better option?
I just think he's got that a little bit more experience. He's a little bit older. From what I've seen so far, he doesn't do too much wrong. He doesn't overcomplicate things, as does Rhys Williams. I think both players have come in and played particularly well. I just think you take a little bit away from our midfield three if you take Jordan Henderson out of there. And I don't like a central midfield player that hasn't really played centre-back because it's...
Let alone two.
Yeah, let alone two. But the thing with Fabinho is we tend to forget that he has played full-back on a numerous occasion when he was at Monaco and with Brazil as well. So he's kind of got that defensive kind of quality about him. Jordan Henderson, I don't quite think has that. He's got the experience to play there, but in a game of this magnitude, I would prefer Jordan to be in the middle of the park and a recognised centre-back, whether it's a youngster or not, to be alongside Fabinho.
I was going to say, Steve, what is the bigger part of the problem with playing Jordan Henderson as a centre-half? Is it that you lose so much from him as a midfielder, or is it that today you would expect him to be tested by some very, very good forward players for Manchester United more than he is in games like Fulham, where he was there in the second half, or even Southampton? Yeah,
there's a fine balance, isn't there? I mean, in the game against Fulham and Southampton, when he does go back there, you're dominating the game, dominating
Fulham,
possession.
he was in the opposition's half for the whole of that 45
exactly,
minutes,
so that
pretty
it
much.
doesn't really matter who was playing in that position. But when you've got the quality of Rashford or the experience of Cavani pulling on those shoulders, then it becomes very difficult, because if you do step into that gap and you've got spaces in behind, usually as a centre midfielder, you know you can go and press and you think, well, I'm okay because I've still got 3-4 players behind me. As soon as you step in at the wrong time, you vacate that big area, it takes away from it. I agree with Gary, that central midfield position where you know he's organising players, he's on the front foot, but what he also brings you is he brings that ability to run past the forward players, and that's dragging their midfielders out of positions. His engine in the middle of midfield, overrunning their midfield, is key to the way that Liverpool play.
Particularly today with Fernandes in there, who's in great form.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the other sides of it. I mean, it's going to be a key sort of battle in there, is who looks after Fernandes. But also, you've got to try and take Fernandes the other way. And Fernandes has got an incredible work rate, and he will work back. So you've got to really take him as far back as you can. Now, Jordan's got that engine to do that. And if he does run beyond midfielders, does Fernandes stay with him? That's the big question. Yeah,
it could be a big day for the Liverpool captain. What about the Liverpool vice-captain, James Milner? How has he been preparing for this massive game?
Your lockdown top 10 chart this Sunday. At 10, we have Marshmallow. At 9, dropping 2, Pussycat Dolls. At 8, with the re-entry, we have Meat Loaf. At 7, what a tune, Bruno Mars. At 6, we have Train, coming at ya. At 5, Believing in Miracles, Hot Chocolate. At 4, Eminem. At 3, Battle of the Rock Bands, we have Guns N' Roses. At 2, Rolling Stones. And at 1, this week, chart topper, Lil Wayne.
Is he okay, your mate?
I don't know what's up with him. he's having a tough time in lockdown.
I was going to say
he's having a midlife crisis.
if you think lockdown's getting to you, it's getting to all of us, even James Milner. By the way, I'm assuming that James Milner's never listened to Little Wayne in his life.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Really?
He knows everything about.
Does he?
Oh, his taste in music is very, very different to what you'd think.
What will James Milner have on in the car then on the way to the game? Little Wayne. All right, OK. Well, as James Milner drives in for Little Wayne, that's a great place for us to leave it to and go and explain to Gary who Little Wayne is. We are back on TV and on the move on your tablet or your laptop or your smartphone from 3:30. It is Liverpool against Manchester United, and we can't wait.
This could be it for Fowler. It is.
Goalkeeper thought about going. Torres! Rush lets it run on cleverly from Jamie Redknapp. Oh, great goal for Liverpool.
Rush on the turn, and Ian Rush. What about that?
Here's Steven Gerrard. Great effort. What a wonderful goal by Gerrard.
Rizzo! My goodness gracious me. Firmino in the penalty area. Back to Salah. Shaqiri! Yeah! He's done it again! Here's Salah. He's still going. And Salah for Liverpool!